Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive.
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
Awesome. So today we're looking at, well, your notes, of course, but also this article you sent me called Why Your Personal Projects Might Not Impress Employers.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and, you've been putting in the work, building some pretty impressive coding projects.
I've seen them. They're good.
But we want to make sure that all that work, actually helps you land that dream job, not hurt your chances.
Right. All right. Exactly.
It's funny, like, everyone always says, like, build a portfolio. Build a portfolio.
I'll go for sure. You hear it all the time.
But then this article is like, hold on a second. It points out that a lot of these projects, they don't always wow hiring managers.
Yeah, it's true. It's like what gives, you know?
Yeah, like what gives? What's the disconnect here?
Well, there is kind of disconnect, you know. A lot of times there's this gap between like the projects that aspiring developers, they pour their hearts into these things.
They really do.
And then what employers are actually looking for.
Right, they're not always on the same page, it seems.
Not always.
Okay, so let's break this down. Let's break down this article. So it starts out by like, you know, outlining these common pitfalls.
Okay.
Things like projects that like lack originality or like complexity, Like, come on, nobody needs another to-do list app.
Right. Unless it does something like really different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But there was this one pitfall that kind of jumped out at me.
Okay.
It was this idea that like incomplete projects, this could actually hurt your chances.
Uh-oh.
Isn't it better to at least have started something, like rather than nothing at all?
You'd think,
What do you
right.
think?
You would think, but sometimes an unfinished project, it can actually be a bit of a red flag for those hiring managers.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, because they see that and they might think, okay, well, is this person going to lose steam, when things get tough on our projects?
Oh, that's a really good point. They're thinking about their needs.
Right.
Okay, so I guess it's all about showing that you can actually deliver, not just start things.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's say, you've avoided all these pitfalls. You're on the right track.
Hopefully.
What are employers really looking for then? When they see, personal project, you got this awesome portfolio, what are they hoping to see?
All right, so the article, it highlights 6 key qualities.
Okay, 6.
Got it. And we can kind of like group these into 2 main buckets, like 2 categories.
Okay, that makes sense. 2 main buckets.
So first, employers, they really want to see like evidence of like real world skills.
Or practical stuff.
Yeah, like can you problem solve?
Right.
Technical proficiency, like how good is your code really? And scalability. So like, can your code, can it grow with the demands of, a real business or a real project?
So it's not just about code that works. It's about code that can like work efficiently and, like you said, grow like with real world demands.
Exactly. They want to know that you can handle those challenges of a real job, not just like textbook examples.
Right. Okay, so that's bucket number 1. What about bucket number 2?
Okay, so bucket number 2, it's all about showing that you're like a good collaborator.
Teamwork.
Yeah, and like that you're a lifelong learner even when you're working by yourself.
Right.
So like if you use good version control, even on your solo projects,
Oh, that's smart.
it shows that you understand how to work effectively on a team.
Yeah.
And if you're like incorporating new technologies and stuff, it shows that you're committed to, constantly improving and staying ahead of the curve.
That makes sense. Okay, yeah, so it's all about like demonstrating those softer skills.
Exactly. Like how you work, not just what you can build.
Yeah, it's a bigger picture kind of thing. Okay, I remember you mentioned in your notes that you're really interested in like working at a startup.
Yeah, that's the dream.
Yeah, and, in that environment, things move fast. Adaptability, that's key there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So maybe, when you're choosing your projects, focus on things that let you like play around with cutting edge tech.
I like that.
Or like a new framework. Because if you can show you can pick things up quickly, that's going to be huge.
It's a good point. I need to make sure I highlight that adaptability.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so we've talked about pitfalls. We've talked about what employers want. But this article, it gets really tactical. It actually gives like almost a dozen strategies for how to build projects that really impress.
There's a lot of good advice in there.
There is. We can't cover all of them.
Yeah, we'd be here all day.
So let's just pick like 3 that are, kind of universally applicable and maybe even like a little surprising, even for experienced developers.
Oh, I like that. Some secret weapons.
Yeah, secret weapon. Okay, so what's the first one? What's the first tip that we should focus on?
Okay, so this one, it sounds super simple,
All right, I'm intrigued.
but it's honestly, it's like the most overlooked thing, and that is solve a real problem.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Practicality.
Yeah, don't just like get caught up in building something, just because you can. Ask yourself, would somebody actually use this?
Hmm. Like, does it actually have an application?
Yes.
Yes.
Does it address like a genuine need or make somebody's life like a little bit easier?
I think it's easy to fall into the trap of just like the technical challenge,
Yeah.
building something because it's hard.
It's fun to push yourself, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe not always the most useful.
And a project that solves a real problem, it's more engaging, you'll be more into it, and so will potential employers.
Okay, so it's a win-win.
Exactly. So instead of like building, another generic e-commerce site,
Right, which everyone has done.
what if you made a platform that like helps local artists sell their work directly?
Oh, that's cool.
Like cut out the middleman. That's a project with impact.
I love that example. It's not just code. It's like a solution for real people.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good one. Solve a real problem. What's next? What's our next strategy?
Okay.
Okay, so we've talked about solving real problems. What's the next strategy that stood out to you?
Okay, so this one's kind of like a secret weapon.
Oh, I like secret weapons. Lay it on me.
It's called showcase your work process.
Okay.
So most developers, they focus on like polishing that final product.
Right, making it shine.
But employers, they're also kind of interested in like how you got there.
The behind the scenes.
Yeah, the journey. So imagine if you could show not just like your amazing app, but also, the steps that you took to overcome a tricky bug.
Oh, that's interesting.
Or like your thought process, like why you made certain design decisions.
like giving a peek behind the curtain.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's valuable stuff for an employer.
It really is. I mean, it's like you're showing them how you think.
Right. And it shows a level of like transparency and self-awareness that a lot of developers, they just don't even think about.
That's true.
And you can achieve this by like writing really detailed commit messages
Okay.
or making like architecture diagrams for your project.
So it's all about documentation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could even keep like a development blog.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
It's like telling the story of your project from like the very first idea to the final, boom, here it is.
I like that. And you know what? This ties in perfectly with your notes.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned wanting to like improve your documentation skills.
Oh, yeah. That's always a good thing to work on.
So here's your chance,
Mm-hmm.
Treat each project like it's a little mini case study.
Yeah, like a portfolio piece.
Document that journey.
Love it. And employers, they eat that stuff up. They love that.
I bet. Because it shows you're not just like hacking away at code. You're really thinking about it, making deliberate choices.
Totally.
Okay, so solve a real problem, showcase our process. What's that third strategy? The third thing we got to keep in mind.
All right. This one is all about like standing out from the crowd.
All right, got to differentiate.
And it's called Incorporate Relevant Technologies.
Okay, I'm listening.
So remember, you're not just building a project, right? You're building this portfolio that like showcases you as a developer.
Right. It's all about you.
So think about the skills that you want to highlight, and what kind of companies do you want to work for? And then choose technologies that like match those goals.
So like if I'm interested in, I don't know, say machine learning, should I look for opportunities to like squeeze that into my projects even if it's not, the main focus?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let's say you're building a weather app.
Okay, basic weather app.
Right. A basic version might, just pull data from like a weather API.
Yeah, to play nice and pretty.
Right. But imagine if you added like a machine learning component that could analyze like historical weather data
Ooh, fancy.
and user preferences, and then it gives like personalized weather alerts, or it could even like predict hyperlocal microclimates.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so specific. Okay, yeah. So it's like, it's not just a weather app anymore. It's like,
It's like next level.
yeah, it's next level.
Right.
Got
It suddenly becomes way more interesting. And it shows that you're willing to like go that extra mile, learn something new.
You're a go-getter. You're
Yeah.
not just following a tutorial. You're like pushing the boundaries.
Exactly.
I like that. Okay, now this article, it also gave like some really inspiring examples of personal projects that kind of go above and beyond.
Oh, yeah. They had some good ones.
One that I thought was really cool was this idea of building a personalized learning platform.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
And they even suggested like using spaced repetition algorithms and like a chatbot to answer student questions.
That's a cool idea. So spaced repetition, that's like it's a learning technique where you basically review information at like increasing
So
intervals.
you remember it better.
Yeah, it helps you like actually remember stuff. And then a chat bot, that could give students like instant support and guidance. So it's more engaging, more
Okay.
interactive.
Yeah, it makes it more fun.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is cool. But these
Mhm.
are just like starting points, right?
Yeah, like springboards, they're just ideas to get you going.
Right. The goal isn't to just copy these projects exactly.
No, definitely not.
It's more about like, how can I take this concept and make it my own?
Right. Add your own spin to it.
Yeah, incorporate technologies or features that are
Mhm.
interesting to me that align with, my career goals.
That's the key. Make it personal.
Yeah. Okay, so let's say I take this learning platform idea. I'm like, okay, I'm going to run with that.
All right, let's do it.
What's something I could add that would make it stand out, like really showcase my unique skills?
Well, you mentioned in your notes that you've been wanting to learn more about natural language processing or NLP.
Oh yeah, NLP, that's hot right now.
Right. So what if you incorporated NLP into the learning platform to like analyze a user's writing style
Yeah.
and then, give them personalized feedback on their grammar and vocabulary?
Oh, that's a good idea. So it's not just a generic learning platform anymore.
No, it's like tailored to their individual learning style.
It's personalized, it's impactful, and it perfectly aligns with, my interest in NLP. I love it.
There you go.
Okay, so I've got my project idea. I've got some cutting-edge tech in there. I've documented my process really well. What's next? How do I actually get this in front of potential employers?
That's where your online presence comes in. Think of it like your digital storefront.
Showcasing the goods.
Exactly. And the foundation of that storefront, that's your portfolio website.
So we're talking more than just like a list of projects on my GitHub profile, right?
Right. Yeah, this is like your own website.
Got it. So what makes a good portfolio website then? What should we be thinking about?
Okay, so there's a few key things to focus on. Number one, make sure it's visually appealing.
Okay, got to look good.
Right. It's got to be
Yeah.
easy to navigate. You want those employers to be impressed by your design sense as well as your coding skills.
It's a package deal.
Exactly. And then highlight your key projects. Don't try to show everything. Just the best stuff.
The greatest hits.
Yeah, the greatest hits. And then include detailed descriptions. What technologies did you use? What challenges did you overcome?
Okay, so it's almost like we're telling a story here.
It is. It's storytelling.
It's not just a list of bullet points.
Right.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, make it engaging.
Yeah, because I want to like draw them in.
You do. You want them to be like, wow, this person is amazing.
I like to think of it as like creating a museum exhibit
Oh, I like that.
of like my coding journey.
That's a great analogy.
And I love this idea of writing like case studies for my most impressive projects, really like delve into the why behind my choices.
Exactly. You're offering them a guided tour of your thought process.
Well, that's cool.
Highlighting the challenges, the solutions, the lessons learned. It shows that you're not just a coder, but you're a problem solver. You take pride in your work.
Yeah, you're thinking critically. You're not just like mindlessly typing.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that. And of course, we can't forget about GitHub.
Oh, yeah. GitHub is still important.
Right. It's not
Mhm.
just a code repository. It's like, it's a social platform,
Yeah.
for developers. It's a great way to showcase your work.
And network with other developers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So a well-maintained GitHub profile, it's kind of like a digital resume, right?
It is, yeah.
So make sure that profile is polished. Your README files are like clear and informative. Your commit history is like clean and well
But
organized.
the details matter.
It shows you're serious. You
Yeah.
care about best practices.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's not just the code itself. It's how you present it.
It's the whole package.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It really is. It all comes together. So, it's not just about building these great projects, but it's also about being part of that community, right?
Yeah.
Sharing your knowledge.
Exactly, yeah. Get out there, talk to other devs, go to meetups, The more you share your work, the more people see it.
Hmm.
And the more opportunities will come your way.
I like it. Network, network, network. All right. So as we wrap up our deep dive here into building these standout projects,
Yeah.
what's that one key takeaway you want our listeners to really remember?
I think more than anything, just remember that building impressive projects, it's a process.
Mm.
It's not just about your technical skills. It's about being a problem solver. It's about being a storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about constantly learning and growing.
Yeah, it's about showing employers Not just what you can do, but like how you do it, how you think, how you approach challenges.
Exactly. And even, seemingly small changes to how you approach these things, they can have a big impact on how your work is seen,
Yeah.
how people perceive it.
It's all about presentation too.
It really is, yeah. So here's a question for all you listeners out there. What's one specific thing you're going to change about how you approach your personal projects after this deep dive?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah, it could be anything. It could be picking a project that solves a real problem, like we talked about, or maybe finally getting better at documenting your process.
Yeah. Or incorporating that new technology that you've been kind of putting off learning, you
Yeah,
know.
there you go.
Yeah.
The important thing is to take action,
Right.
make a change.
Do something.
Because
God.
even those little steps, they can lead to some really big results.
Absolutely. So keep coding, keep learning, and keep sharing your passion with the world.
I love it.
And who knows, maybe your next personal project, it'll be the one that lands you that awesome dream job.
That's what we like to hear. And remember, we're always here to support you on that journey.
We are.
So keep diving deep, and we'll catch you all next time for another, fascinating exploration.
Until then, happy coding, everyone.